Hello friends, Jermaine here and welcome to this video. We have been exploring the Angel Dart framework and this is video number 5. We're going to be looking at the search functionality on our block CMS as well as the toggling of each of these menu items dependent on where we are. Let's begin. I want to thank everyone who's been watching these video series. This is going to be the last video that I'll be doing on Angel, at least for YouTube, because I'll be working on a downloadable set of videos, including what has been done so far. I am looking at topics like adding pagination to allow us to browse through the articles as chunks of data rather than displaying everything from the database, which is a common pattern if you use blogs or newspaper websites. I'll also be looking at end-to-end testing so that we can validate the different flows and behaviors we've implemented around especially this CRUD type application, and also address some edge cases. We'll be looking at tests that are failing and also how to fix those tests. And also what I have in mind is also looking at authentication, allowing authorized users only to be able to create, update and delete articles. So do stay tuned. I'm working on this content and we'll keep you updated along the way, as well as let you know once it's ready. If you're not subscribed on my email list, I suggest you join at creativebracket.com so that you are notified when these videos are ready. Let's add an endpoint where we are going to be sending our query when we use the search form. So right after the root URL, I'm going to add another endpoint here, and then we'll call it search. It will be a get call. And then in here, what we want to do is we will be retrieving our search term through the query string because we're doing a get call. I'll create a variable called query, and in here we'll look in our query parameters. We'll retrieve our key, which we'll just call it Q for query. And then once that's done, we'll retrieve a handle to our article service as usual. And then from here, what we want to do is we want to make a call to our database. So I'll create a variable called filtered articles, or article list rather. And then here we want to make an await call. So let's mark this as async, and we are meant to put async here instead. So we'll await, and we'll use our article service to make a call to our database. We're going to make a special query, and we want to find articles where, and in this instance, we're going to use a JS query. So this is a selector builder that allows us to insert JavaScript code. And what we're going to say is for each document, we'll look at the title where the index of, and then our query goes here. Don't forget the double quotes. And then we want to ensure that it's greater than -1. So if it exists in there, then it will be greater than -1. If it's not found, it will return -1, which means it won't be included in the results returned from our MongoDB database. Once we've got that, we can serialize our results. So remember, our article serializer takes a map object and then it produces an article object from that. So this would contain a list of article objects. And once we've done a map returns an iterable. So we need to convert that to a list. And then we can render our template. We'll call it search. We'll define an articles key, and then we'll feed it our filtered articles. So let's save this. And next, what we need to do is to create our search template because we do not have one. So under our views, I'll add a new file. We'll call it search.jl. And in here, we are going to extend our layout.jl file. And once that's done, we define our content block. And then in here, we will create a Jumbotron. And in our Jumbotron, we'll have a container. In our container, we'll have a row, and then we'll have a column. And then in our column, we'll have a header 1 element, and it'll just say search results for, and in double quotes, we'll render our query. And then after the Jumbotron, we now need to display our results. So we'll have a container. Next, we'll have a row, and then we'll have a column. And then using the for each directive, for each of our articles that are found, then we'll give it the article alias. Similar to the rest, we'll render a heading 2 with an anchor to each article. Next, we'll render the date and then a link to read the full article. So let's save this and let's give that a go. Let's run our server and then let's enter a search term. Okay, nothing happens. Yeah, we actually need to set an action for this form. So our action is search, our method is get, and let's try that again. We didn't get any results. And also you notice that the field clears whenever we're searching. So let's fix that. If we come back here, we put query here, which means that we expect that to be passed into this template. But then I did not pass it into the template. So I passed articles, but not the query. So let's pass in our query. That should fix it. That's still not working because I forgot we need to do one more thing. So in our layout, yeah, we need to give this field a name. And the name is Q, because in our routes, we are expecting a parameter called Q. Okay, let me reload. Let's try again. So we see search results from my FR, but then we're still not seeing the value here because we need to set the value to our query. Okay, so there we go. And it's here too. So in the scenario where we do not find any search results, let's display a message. In fact, let's try and get some results. So I'll do that. And we get a result from our database. This is my first post. So that's our match, which I think is because we only have one article anyway. But at least we're getting results returned back from our database. So in the scenario where there isn't a result, let's add a message to notify the user that no result was found. And we can do that here. So right before we render all of this, we can say we'll add a column and we want to show this if our article length is exactly 0. And then we'll have a centered paragraph saying no articles found. Please try another term. And let's test it out. Yep, there we go. No articles found. Please try another term. And then once we find a match, we display our article. So what happens if we leave the field blank and hit search? Okay, so at this point, it will return essentially all the articles from our database. So at the moment, there's literally just one post. But if I quickly add another and then I search, yeah, it displays all our posts from the database. And in fact, let's fix this layout issue. Oh, I got the wrong class. I'll reload. And yep, there we go. It returns everything from the database. Let's add some validation so that if an empty is sent across, we'll display this message instead. So to do that, we'll come to our validator file and then we'll create another validator for our search. And in here, look at our Q field. And for now, we'll just say we expect it to be a non-empty string. I'll return to our routes file and then we will have our search validator check our query params. We can check from our validation results if our errors list is not empty. If it's not empty, then we'll handle our error here. Else, we'll do the rest of that. So I'm going to use a similar pattern with the way we handle validation in our other routes. So we'll create a template data map. And then for handling our error, we'll do template data add all. We'll have our errors and then we'll set an empty object for our articles. In fact, we may not even need to set errors because we are going to display the not found message based on the result of that. But I'll just leave it in here anyway. And then I'll move this logic in here. So if there's a search term, then we'll do the searching in our database for the articles. And once we've found it, we'll do template data articles equal to our filtered articles. So that means over here, we can spread our template data results into this map. And I'll just add a comma here. It looks much better. Let's test this out. So if this is not found, we get that. If I enter an empty string, we get that. Search results for empty string. If we enter a match, then we get first post. If we enter another match, second post. If I enter post, then it displays both of them with our search terms. Okay, so this looks good. I am going to quickly change this navigation bar so it uses the dark background instead because I think it kind of looks better. So let's come to our layout, and then here navbar light, we change that to dark. And if I reload, it looks like that. The next part is to handle the toggling of these navigation items, because right now we are on search, but then articles is highlighted. If I click add new, articles is still highlighted. So let's deal with that now. We'll create another key called title, which will receive a title for the current page. So for our root page, we'll set a title key, and then the result will be home. And then for new, we'll set a title key and the value will be new. So that means we can come back to our layout. There's probably several ways of doing this, but we are going to use one of Angel's custom elements called switch. So we'll switch based on the value of our title. Within our switch, it takes in other custom elements such as a case. And here we'll say if the case value is home, then we will render these two list items whereby articles is set to active. And then let's check the case where the value is new. And essentially we'll copy this here, and then we'll set new as active. Let's test this out. If I refresh the page, new is highlighted. If I click articles, articles is highlighted. What happens when we use search? Okay, we don't see anything here. So custom element also takes in a default, and for our default to just render these two list items without the active class. So if I come back here and reload, then we see both menu items. None of them are highlighted. If I hit add new, that's highlighted. If I hit articles, that's highlighted. And this brings me to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. I hope it was informative. You learned something interesting. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And hit the bell notification icon so that you're updated when new videos are released. Again, join my email list at creativebracket.com so that you're notified when the downloadable videos are ready. Thank you.